Okay. Today we're going to talk about, or we're going to continue with your LP guided notes. I think this is part 3 or 4. I can't remember. I think it's part 3. So we're going to begin with the verb ser and estar. Both ser and estar, you can't see it, but they both mean to be. So when they both mean to be, when you translate, it's kind of like saying I am, he is, we are. How do you know which one to use? So there's a really popular acronym for each of these words that kind of help you remember when to use ser versus when to use estar. Before we begin, let's go over your forms of ser are on the first page. Soy, eres, es, somos, sois, and son. So again, on the first page of your notes, you should have those. But estar, let's write these down really quickly. Estar is estoy. I can squeeze it. Estás with an accent. Está. Then it's estamos, we are, in Spain. Estáis with an accent. And están. So estoy, estás, está. Estamos, estáis, están. Estoy, estás, está. Estamos, estáis, están. Accents on the bottom for A's. And again, ser is on the first page of your notes. Soy, eres, es, somos, sois, and so on. Okay, so when do we use ser? Ser is generally used for more permanent or things that can't change or don't typically change. So here are some examples with ser. We use the acronym doctor. Okay, so doctor, the D is for description. Maria es simpática. Maria is nice. Okay, so that's when you would use ser. Again, as is your form of ser. When you talk about the origin of something, where someone is from, soy de Burgal, I am from Burgal, you would use ser. You would never say estoy de Burgal. That wouldn't make sense. Characteristics. Very similar to description. If I want to describe Maria physically, Maria es alta. She is tall. Again, use ser, not estar. Time and date. You use ser. Son las dos. It's 2 o'clock. And then es el 2 de mayo. It's the 2nd of May. I should have said es el 5 de mayo. Again, you use es and son because time and date, use ser. Occupation. That's like what you do for a living, or identification. Somos maestros. We are teachers. And then relationship. Any kind of relationship description, you would use ser. So Maddie and Cash son mis hijos. Maddie and Cash are my children. You can say tú eres mi amiga. You are my friend. So it doesn't have to be a family relationship. So those are your forms of ser. Description, origin, characteristics, time, date, occupation, and relationship. And again, ser is soy, eres, es, somos, sois, and son. Right? So let's talk about the verb estar. So the verb estar. All right, so estar, estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. You use that for things that, if ser is more permanent, then estar is more temporary. These are things that can change. Doesn't mean always, but can change. First is position and then location. Those are very similar. Position is like this one. Estoy al lado del libro. I am next to the book. That's kind of like where you are in relationship to another thing. So again, we use estoy, not soy. Location, very similar to position. Estás en la clase. You are in the class. Where are you? You're in the class. That's your location. Then action, any kind of like ing word, like you're walking, talking, singing, dancing, whatever, you can use estar. Estamos hablando. And hablando means talking. We are talking. So we have to use estar and not ser. Okay? Condition. Condition is kind of like how you feel. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? Hey, notice I didn't say ¿cómo eres? That means like, what are you like? So I'm saying, ¿cómo estás? How are you? How you feel can change for sure. And then finally, emotion. Any kind of emotion that can change, use estar. Estoy nervioso. I am nervous. There's a little rhyme I use with estar for how you feel and where you are. Always use the verb estar. So that's a good way. Feelings and location in general. So again, ser is more permanent, whereas the star is more temporary and can change in feelings and your location. Okay? All right, we're going to continue with regular verbs, AR verbs, ER verbs, IR verbs. This is just basic conjugation. So if you have the word hablar, you can't say yo hablar, I talk. That would mean I to talk. So remember, you have to conjugate verbs sometimes to make them fit the subject. How do you conjugate a verb? You first drop off the ending. The ending is either AR, ER, or IR. Then you add a new ending according to the subject. So if it's an AR verb, you add an ending. If it's an ER, IR verb, you add an ending. Again, if it's yo, to, whatever. Okay? So here are your endings. For AR verbs, they are o, as, a, amos, ice, and on. So for example, with my verb hablar, if I want to say I talk, you talk, you write hablar out, chop out the R, and then you add those endings. Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. I talk, you talk, he or she or you formal talk, we talk, y'all talk, they or you plural talk. So o, as, a, amos, ice, on. Don't forget to chop off the AR first. Very important. ER, IR verbs are very similar. Pretty much all you do is change the A's to E's, except for nosotros, vosotros. Okay? So if it's an ER verb or an IR verb, like comer or vivir, again, chop, chop, and then you add your endings. Yo form, O, S, E, hemos, that one should have been ace, I forgot it. E-I-S, east. Okay, so O-S-E, hemos, ace, N for ER verbs. And then for IR verbs, O-S-E, emos, is, and N. So if I'm conjugating comer, it's going to be como, comes, come, comemos, coméis, comen. For vivir, vivo, vives, vive, vivimos, vivis, viven. It's again, I eat or I live, you eat, you live, he or she eats or lives, and then you formal eats or live. We eat or we live, y'all eat or live, and you all or they eat / live. Again, comer is to eat, vivir is to live. All right, so those are your endings. I'll do a little, oh, it's not very clear. There you go, of everything that you need to know. All right, just let me know if you have any questions about this section. Adios.